Coming up on this week's Towncast Pembroke, we've got a very special chat with Sam from Paddlewest about a really exciting project that we can all help with in town. All of that, some events, some cricket scores, the usual stuff, and a little bit of info from me on what's happening with Towncast. Let's get on with the show. Hello and welcome back to this week's Pembroke Towncast with me, Lee G. Lots of stuff to get through this week, but stay tuned till the very end. I just got some stuff about Towncast, and I've been not online for a couple of weeks. I'll tell you all of that and what's happening and those kind of things. So we'll do that after the sport at the very end of today's show. So first things first, let's have a look at events going on in and around the town. So there has been loads of stuff. It is summer holidays. There's loads of stuff out there. And as I explain at the end, I haven't got all of them this week, but what I have got is 9th of August, which is Saturday. Get yourself down to Penn Hall in Pembroke Dock. So they've got a band playing called the Red Skies Country and Western kind of. I don't think it's called country and western now. It's just called country music. Called a band called Red Skies. £10 a head for tickets. Doors at 7, band at 8. But to bring your own bottle. I'm led to believe that is a cracking night out on that one. Bit of something from Plant Dairy. Now I know there's loads of these going around. But Plant Dairy is the one that I'm just going to let you know about this week. So lots of events, regular events going on all through the summer holidays. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 10:30 until 2 up at Glanamore Farm on Bush Hill, which is the old school farm. Those of us of a certain age will know the old school farm. So yeah, they've got events going on, all sorts of different events. Really, really good program, really well put together, really well run as well, which is always a bonus. Go to their Facebook page, Plant Dairy. It's a dads and kids kind of a thing. And it is very much old school dads, that kind of a thing. Let's fix a bike, let's build this, let's have a look at this. So yeah, just get in touch with them. I believe, not 100%, but I believe that it's free. You just need to let them know so they can do numbers and what have you. But they're a great bunch of people, well worth getting involved with. Similar thing, Pembrokeshire Coast, loads of events going on. So the one that I'm really interested in, not sure if I'm going to be able to go, but the Tours of Castlemartin. Okay, so the Castlemartin range, as well as being one of the few live tank firing ranges in the country, is also a special scientific interest. There's it's part of the national park, so there's restrictions on development in there, and there's an archaeological dig going on, all in the same kind of space. So there's a guided tour on the 7th and the 14th. So go onto their page or go onto their Facebook page, have a look. Now, for me, this is just the sort of thing that you go and see once and you go, holy cow, how is this not international news? How is everybody not knowing about this? Because it's good stuff, the archaeological digs. They've also got Sprinkle Under the Stars on the 24th and something really exciting. So for little kids, it's probably too late at night for little kids, but there's a planetarium event at Carew Castle on the 27th, which is basically, I mean, Carew is a dark area anyway, so you get a cracking view of the stars. But basically, it's when it goes dark, all the lights go off, and you lie on the floor and look at the stars, and somebody will talk you through, this is what this is over here, this is it. Yeah, and it's a really, really good event. So yeah, well worth booking yourself onto that one as well. The castle, Pembroke Castle, also got lots of events still going on. They've obviously got the daily stuff where they run different things, but most importantly, Wednesday the 6th. So this will go out on the 6th of the morning. So it's looking like a nice day. Wind is dying down. Sun is starting to come back. Evening should be quite nice. The Perilous Comedy of Elizabeth I is a new show. It's not one you will have seen anywhere else, but it's a cracking show to go and watch. So if you've never been to an outdoor show at Pembroke Castle, it's one of those things that once you've been once, you do it does kind of bite you as a bug, and you go, okay, well I can go back and I'll go back again and I'll go back again. So again, kind of hoping to, but don't think I will be going to that one. There's another one due in 2 weeks' time, I think it is. But if you've never been before, go and do it. It's brilliant. This is a family-friendly show as well, so it's not rude. It's not Shakespeare. So get the kids down there because these are the events that kind of make up your childhood, and these are the things that you will remember, or they will remember when they get older. Okay, so there are no doubt loads of other events going on here, there, and everywhere. Please do send them in, and we will do our best to promote them for you. So, speaking of promoting events, coming up next, I've got a chat with Sam from Paddlewest, okay, which is all about the boathouse. I used to call it the paddle house. I don't know why I call it the paddle house. But it's the boathouse on the quay, all the stuff you can do around the quay. People think Paddlewest, and I used to be one of them. I thought, oh yeah, I thought they did a few other bits and bobs here and a few other bits and bobs there. They do loads of stuff, loads of stuff. So not only is the boathouse kind of important for us in Pembroke, it's important for our kids and the next generation and keeping kids engaged. All of that kind of stuff is it's really important. It's a good thing, and if you can, it is a fundraiser. But trust me, I wouldn't be putting it out there if I hadn't donated myself, and I have, and I wouldn't be putting it out there if I didn't think it was something that was worth doing. Okay, so Sam is coming up in a minute. I'll put up my standard plea, which is please like, rate us, subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. And if you fancy coming on and taking over from me and doing some stuff on Towncast or sitting here with me and having a chat, please do get in touch. Ilovetowncast@gmail.com. That would be fan-dabby-dozy. Okay, let's go and see what Sam from Paddlewest has got to say for himself. So, joining me for the chatty bit this week is local business entrepreneur and crowdfunding superstar, Sam from Paddlewest. Afternoon, Sam. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good. Yourself?
Yeah, good, good. I always like to give people a bit of a big up. Well, you only get one chance to big people up. So, so Sam, you part Paddlewest that are kind of based on the quay in Pembroke. So we've all kind of seen kayaks and canoes and people rowing their boats around the pond and what have you, but just wanted to explain to people what Paddlewest is and what kind of things that you do on the mill pond. So tell us a little bit about Paddlewest, mate, and what it
Yeah.
does.
Well, Paddlewest has been existing in some form since 2018. So we initially formed as a limited company offering canoe hire on the Western Cleddau and Haverfordwest, and rowboat hire in Pembroke, and then canoe tours on the Cleddau estuary as well. My background has always been, well, it's always been in outdoor education. So I've always nearly all the jobs I've had have been, something to do with generally getting young people outdoors and engaging with different outdoor activities. Um, uh, and especially working with young people who aren't engaging with mainstream education, so kids who aren't attending school for whatever reason, or aren't attending school full time for whatever reason. So could be young people who have been excluded from school for behavioural reasons, or it could be some people they can't go into school. They feel they can't go into school due to anxieties and phobias, and people who suffer terribly with bullying and things like that. And very quickly after we started Paddlewest, I was asked to go back and work with a former pupil, and get them out and about and doing a few adventures. So people I used to work with in a specialist behavioural school. So yeah, we got asked to go and do some bits and pieces with him, and we became ALA licensed, which is what allows you to work with school groups and with young people without their parents present, doing adventurous activities. So we really got ALA license to work with that one young man. And then it sort of grew and grew from there, and it's become very much our focus. So that is kind of the whole point of what we do. So we've reincorporated as a community interest company a few years ago now. So we operate our education programs as Paddlewest Community CIC. So it's a company that is a community interest company limited by guarantee, which means we have no shareholders. There's no profit allowed to be made. So any money taken by the business has to go back into the operations that we do, so providing the services we provide. And in the situation where we go bust, or we fold for some reason, or just close up shop, the assets of the CIC don't belong to me or to anyone else. They are asset locked, so that they would then be passed on. Well, the organisation we've chosen to asset lock to is actually Pembrokeshire Scouts. So if we were to fold, everything that the CIC owns would then become the property of the Scouts. So they might find themselves with quite a lot of boats and things. Yeah, which hopefully they might be able to put to some good use. So we can't just asset strip the company and close it down or anything like that. That's not something we can do. Yeah, so our main focus is working with young people not engaging with school. Our biggest partner client would be Pembrokeshire Learning Centre. So based in their main base is in Neyland, but they've got satellite centres in Pembroke Dock and other places. And they run the pupil referral units and a big LRC, Learning Resource Centre. And they have other programs for outreach programs and things for kids that are unable to engage with school. And we work with them. Well, this last year, definitely we've worked with them, I think, almost every day of the academic year. So we've had different groups from them. We now run a program called the Adventure Study Program, which we've been trying to get going for a couple of years now. Where, so rather than just taking kids out and about on adventures and giving them a bit of fun and showing them things, we now have the ability to offer what's called the Agoid Cymru Level 2 Extended Certificate in Learning in the Outdoors, which basically is a qualification at GCSE level, so level 2 qualification. Completion of the full course. We do have options to drop out at smaller amounts, but completion of the full course is the equivalent of 2 GCSEs A to C, and it's all practical, all outdoor stuff. So we do units on camping skills, bushcraft, water sports, land-based activities. We took a group up to Scotland at Easter and did a canoe expedition, paddling from Inverness to Fort William as their expedition module as part of that. We get them delivering their own activities as well, so they get experience as instructing. And then alongside that, we run first aid and instructor qualifications and personal performance qualifications in water sports. I'm sorry, I'm going to keep going, but So a couple of our lads this time round who, again, they're not in mainstream school. Part of their Agorid program they did, and also just because it's something they wanted to do, they got involved with the community engagement project, and they've been helping us to deliver sessions for Forever 11. Now, Forever 11, you've probably come across as an anti-drowning charity set up in memory of Zach Thompson, a lad from Pembroke Dock Community School who unfortunately lost his life a few years ago now. And the family have set up this awesome charity that has been doing amazing work, getting young people doing water safety training with loads of different people. But they've been working very closely with us over the last year. I'm not quite sure how many kids we've stuck through it, but this summer term we've put hundreds and hundreds of children, mostly year fives and sixes from primary schools, the Pembroke side of the Cleddine mostly, but a few others as well, and other youth groups and things, doing the British canoeing, Paddle UK now, Paddle Safer qualification, which is a 3-hour course aimed at teaching you the real basics of how not to get into serious trouble the first time you go out on a paddleboard or a kayak. So it's giving kids the safety messages of making sure they've got a mobile phone, somebody always knowing where you're going, how to check the tides, what an offshore wind is, why not to go out in it, and then physical skills of helping each other back onto boats, getting themselves back onto a boat, how you call the Coast Guard, things like this. So it's a qualification that's been developed by Paddle UK, really because it's so easy to buy a paddleboard or a kayak now, and it's keeping the RNLI very busy. Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
so quite a few of us will just think, they just do the paddle, they just do the rowing boats on
yeah.
Castle Pond. But
So,
what you do reaches far and wide into loads of people's
yeah,
lives.
I guess so. Yeah. The rowing boats, which people see, I mean, we can quite happily say that has never made money. Yeah. Yeah, 'cause, we'd have to hire a lot of rowboats to pay the wages of the people that are there. But what you will notice is that it's generally staffed by teenagers, and those teenagers are young people that have come to us through our various programs. Um, and yeah, so I mean, some of the older ones are my old scouts from Second Milford Haven Sea Scouts many years ago, but there's a lot of them that have come to us through PLC programs. And through working with us, we've gained them their first aid, their water safety qualifications of a higher level than that paddle safer one, than actual water rescue qualifications. And a lot of them are qualified paddle sport instructors now. And they run that site for us. And it works really well as a first stepping stone into employment. So obviously it means when they apply for a job, they can now have a referee. So they've got a referee in us that they've been working for us, and it's a real job. We're not getting funding for running that. They are getting paid the correct above minimum wage for their age. For working at that site, and they're getting
That's fantastic.
Uh,
Go on,
yeah,
go on.
sorry, and they're getting the skills there to, so customer service is a huge one. Had one of the lads the other day realize, when you realize somebody just really gets it. They said, yeah, it's really nice. It's just, it's nice to be part of somebody else's special day. And
Yeah.
realizing when people are getting stuff like that with a mindset like that, they've got the right mindset to be working in any, customer facing job.
Yeah.
But they've got the hard skills as well of going out and towing a boat in, pulling somebody out of the water, fitting somebody for a buoyancy aid. They're running the till systems and things like that, so that they are getting really useful employability skills. So either go off and do something else, or a lot of them then do decide to stay either with us or to go off and work for somebody else in the outdoor industry. So one of our main instructors now, he came to us when he was 14, so he's 20, he's 21 now. Yeah, he's 21 now. He came to us on work experience at 14 from Pembrokeshire Learning Centre, and he's never left. He was one of the youngest open water canoe leaders in the country when he was just about still 16 when he passed the qualification, and that allows him to lead groups out in pretty big conditions in open canoes out on the Cleddau. So it can be pretty windy. It can be a long way from shore, and he can be. And I'm assuming he won't listen to this, so it's absolutely fine. I can say, I'm very happy that he's that if conditions are hairy, he's the person I want with me. Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's definitely
Yeah.
he's at that stage now. He's that good. Um,
Wow.
yeah, and again, kids tend to have come from very difficult backgrounds to end up in a situation where they're getting referred through a program like that. I mean, I don't need to say anything more than that on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I see that to me is just shows the kind of value we see, cars will fly past at 35, 40, 50 mile an hour, another bugbear of mine, but they hammer it across the bridge and they'll just see that little flag down on the side there and just think, oh, they're just doing a little paddle boat. But so what you do is really important and really key to Pembroke and the Mill Pond and all of that area. So talk to us about the boat test. I call it the paddle house, and I have no idea why I call it the
Yes.
paddle house, but it's called the boat house.
Yeah, well, there's a lot
And
of paddles in it as well. Yeah.
maybe that's what it is. I said my boy used to do kayaking with Pembrokeshire paddlers, so every now and again they would store stuff in there, and maybe somebody at some point went, "Oh, it's go get your stuff from the paddle house or whatever." But in my head, it's always been the paddle house. But it's called the boathouse, and it's kind of like or you want it to be your main base and the way to go forward for doing all of these things that you just told us about. So tell us where we are with that and what the plans are and things like that.
Yeah, so the boat, I'll be careful what I say because there'll be people who know much more about the history of Pembroke listening to this than I do. But the boathouse itself is a very old building. It's been there for a very, very long time. So I believe it's a medieval structure originally. Then I think its last role before it got converted was actually being a cabinet maker specializing in making coffins. I've had a few people tell me about that. That once upon a time you'd walk along the quayside, the boathouse, what's now the boathouse, would be open, and there'd be coffins laid out all over the place. Yes, but the council many years ago converted it into being a satellite water sports centre as part of the programme they used to have the funds and the political will to run, which was the Pembrokeshire Water Sports. So it had its big main centre in Pembroke Dock, the centre in under the castle and Castle Pond, and I believe it had another similar satellite centre up in Fishguard. Though again, don't quote me on that in case I'm wrong. Yeah, but they put a lot of work into making it into the structure you see now, with the big window at the front and the balcony, etc. Unfortunately, they then couldn't run it anymore. So they did what councils tended to do with outdoor education centres, which is cut them, lock the doors, walk away. They locked the doors, capped the chimney, and walked away and left it untouched for decades. We have been squatting in there for a number of years, I'm not going to lie. We've been using the downstairs space for storing boats. But that's literally all we've been able to do, really, because upstairs is unsafe. At some point, upstairs will end up downstairs, and that day is getting closer and closer. And the whole place is in a sorry state of repair. It needs structural steel work doing. It needs a lot of work doing on the balcony. Needs to be made safe because, again, that at some point that could well come down. So the balcony needs sorting. Bit of work needs doing to the window as well, the big window at the top. And yeah, a lot of rafters and things will need sorting to get the upstairs floor safe as well. And yeah, it's definitely need rewiring and things like that, to make it usable. Our aim for the building, so we've been squatting for years, and the council has finally accepted that we are there. And after a lot of negotiations back and forth, we have been given a 15-year lease of the building. So we are allowed to be there at least for the next 15 years. Obviously, we will do everything we can to get some more security on that, but we don't want to let the perfect be the enemy of the good on this one. Yeah, so we have been turned down for community asset transfer on the building a couple of times. So that's, yeah, at the moment that's not an option to us. So we've got it for the next 15 years at least, and we have the right to improve it. That's kind of where we are now with it. So
improving it is going to cost money, though.
Improving it is going to cost money, and it's going to cost quite a lot of money, which I think, as we've explained, is not money that we can just take from the programs we're running. Because that's, we don't run them at that sort of, well, we don't run them at any kind of profit margin. Yeah, realistically. So the work that we've got we've got 2 stages to the work, and I'll explain why, if that's okay. So
yeah, go mate. Yeah,
we have been approved under the Streetscape scheme, which, for the listeners who don't realise, is a grant scheme the council has got available for. It's designed for shop fronts in our major towns to try and make the place look better. That money has to be paid retrospectively, though, so we have to do the work and then they'll give us the money, or some of the money. We don't have the money to do it and then reclaim it. That's just not something we can do. And so what we have managed to arrange with Sports Wales and Crowdfunder is we've set up a crowdfunder page, and we need to get that crowdfunder up to £30,000 to complete the front of the building, the initial stage, phase 1 of the building, in October. That work needs to be done. If it's done in October, we will get the £25,000 from the council for the streetscape. But we've also been given a match funding offer from Sports Wales. We've got 18 days left on our crowdfunder. So we've got 18 days today. We've got 18 days left on the crowdfunder to get it up to £15,000. If we get up to £15,000, Sports Wales will match fund up to £30,000, and that will pay for we've been told, the majority of the work on the front of the building. Okay, that will get that bit done. Obviously, once we've got it done, assuming we get it done in October, we will have the £25,000 from the county council. That £25,000 then we're going to invest into doing the upstairs of the building to start work on that. That won't do all of it. But that will probably be about halfway, maybe just slightly under halfway of doing what we need to do upstairs. Because upstairs, we're going to turn that space into a classroom or a mixed use room. It's a one big space. If you look on our Facebook or YouTube channels, we've got a good video showing upstairs and what we want to do. So into a multi-use space upstairs with a little kitchenette area at the back. So we'll have the option of making sure there's hot food and things available going on up there for the young people we work with, and also just the ability to even just get a warm drink up there will be really useful when we're running courses through the winter and things like that. There is a toilet upstairs at the moment. Obviously, the floor underneath it is unstable, but there is a toilet upstairs. There is plumbing going up there. And our plan is to expand that to bring out, so we have toilets and showers upstairs, which allows people to be able to get a shower after doing something on the water, which is probably not a bad idea, particularly again once we're going into the winter, into longer winter months. And once we've got light and heat in the building, we want other like-minded groups to be using the building as well, because we want that building open and used as much as possible. We want that building to be alive as long as possible throughout the day, right into late into the evening. And for a lot of the young people we work with, that's another space they can go to, another place they can be safe, another place they can feel like they belong. And a place where they can get training and help to achieve where they want to be in life, to make some changes to their life chances by having that space available to them. Sorry, I got sidetracked there. So forget.
Well, it's interesting because it's something that comes up on our socials a lot, and it's something that comes into a lot of our discussions about young kids. And for the best will in the world, once you reach a certain age, there are more kids than there are older ones, and it's like, oh, why are they doing this? Why are they doing that? And then you look at what the kids' options are. What else are they going to do? And it's quite limited. It's quite you might go play rugby. Well, that might be one evening a week and one afternoon on a weekend. You might play football, same thing. There's not massive amounts of stuff for kids to do. So those of us who are a bit older that want kids to have somewhere to go, this would be ideal. This would be, we could turn around to the kids that annoy us and we go, do you know what? Here's a place you can go and actually do something productive. Here's a place that will help you. Here's a place that will help you develop skills, be around people, all of that kind of stuff. So if there's people watching it that are a little bit, I'm going to say grumpy minded, but let's be real. The kids have got to have something to do, and if they're sitting around throwing stones at cars, which is something I saw last week as well. Let's go and give them something to do. Let's put our hands in our pockets and say, do you know what? Here's a bit of cash. Now go and do something for the kids in the town. So to me, this just sounds like a win-win for literally everyone in the town. Everyone.
I'm you may have picked up on this. I'm a firm believer that there's no such thing as a bad kid. Yeah, there are
Yeah.
there are kids that make stupid decisions, and everybody's looking for a sense of belonging, a sense, yeah, and a sense of ownership over something as well. So this is something we're doing with over on the other side of the water. So over in Milford Haven, we're working with the Port Authority at the moment. We've just started something called the High Tide Club in Milford, which is running throughout the summer holidays on Wednesdays and Saturdays. This isn't really an advert for it because we're really trying to get the young people that are hanging around the slipway and the seawall and stuff to give them another option rather than doing stupid stunts or getting involved in other antisocial behaviour and stuff around that area. And we find we get a very positive response from the teens and stuff down there. So almost as soon as we took over that site, so we're at Milford Beach Activity Centre over there as well now. We've been there just since the spring summer. Since we took over that site, we get kids who they might have just dived off the seawall 5 minutes before. Their music's out blaring. There've been complaints about them from some of the other locals and things. But straight away it's, oh, do you need a hand with that boat? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And the next thing, no. So we've just sent one of the lads. He's just gone off and done a 2-day first aid course with us this weekend, just gone, which we've paid for. And then we're hoping that he's now going to start working with us at the Milford site. So, and then we'll start doing his instruction. And that's someone who's just completely self-referred to us. He's not come to us through any scheme or anything like that at all. And there's a lot of the youngsters there. They want to do something. They want to belong to something. They want to have a sense of ownership over something. We find working in sort of education and coaching, things like that. You come across the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and we always think you tend to think that you're kind of working in the upper levels when you're coaching. That most people's needs are already sorted, but no, the very base level is the physiological needs, and we do generally get kids come along who they haven't eaten that day and they've shown up to do an outdoor session and they do not have appropriate clothing at all. They don't have a change of clothes. They don't have a spare pair of shoes. They don't. And we find we're ticking off a lot of those base needs, and then giving them the social needs of belonging and safety in a group and things like that, giving them that as being part of the Paddlewest family then, which then allows us to worry about things like the self-esteem and the self-actualization and stuff up at the top.
They're up there.
And we do so. We find a lot of the youngsters we work with, we spend years working on their self-esteem, and then we find they've gone over the top. We've got to try and knock it back a bit.
I've met them. Yeah. So let's bring it back to some of that reality, because you're working on a really, really short deadline now. So What's the date when it closes? So 18 days from today. Today's the 5th, so we're looking at 23rd. Does it close on the 23rd that we got to have this kind of done by?
I'll tell you just now. Look. The 20. So we have got until 11:46 a.m. on the 24th of August.
Right. Okay. Which
So
is just before bank holiday, isn't it?
yeah,
So this could be a good bank holiday finish.
yeah.
And how much do you need to raise between now and then, mate?
So we have currently got £6,814 in the crowdfunder. It's quite nice. It does go up. It does nice go up in tens, fives, twenties, fifties constantly throughout the day. We're constantly watching it. We are getting some really good engagement already. But I'm very aware we've got to get nearly £8,000. No, yes,
Mm.
in the next 18 days to get the match funding from Sports Wales to be able to get. I think I've made that clear. Once we've got that match funding in place, then everything else
That's
snowballs from there.
mm.
And also, the more donors we have, the more interest the big donors will have in us. So the first barrier we had to cross was if we had had one person offer to give us £15,000, then Sports Wales wouldn't have match funded that because they said it must come from a minimum of 100 donors.
Right.
But we've now got 219 supporters have come through. So yeah, every little donation, even a quid here and there, really, really helps, and because it helps with that evidence that the community is interested in it when it's coming to the bigger donors for the stages later on. But we've got 8,500 followers on Facebook. If I could just convince all of them to give me £1, we'd have crossed the line. Yeah, we'd have crossed the line for that first stage. So yeah, we have had people who've donated £1 or £2. Then we've had people 10, 15, 20. I think our biggest individual donor was I'm guessing they just cleared out what they had on a debit card or something, because I think they donated £486 or something like that, and that was an individual donation.
Wow.
And then we've had
Awesome.
businesses as well have been. We've had the Lions Club have given us £500, but we are going to lots of other groups like that we're hoping might be able to give us a hundred or a few £100 here and there. Dews Lake Farm, the campsite over in Lamphy, they've been really supportive. We were absolutely shocked. They gave us £500 the other day.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was a huge bonus. And then Main Street Music, they've just started a raffle for us. So
I've seen it, yeah.
yeah, they're raffling off a £600 guitar at £3 a ticket. So I mean, if you want a £600 guitar for £3, go
The
into
way
the
to
shop.
go.
Yeah, go into the shop and buy a raffle ticket, please. Yes. Um, but
Well, see, we've got 9,000 people in Pembroke on its own. Yeah, so let's forget about the people that travel through Pembroke and use Pembroke facilities and go to Power Station and Valero and all of these kind of things. So we've got 9,000 people in Pembroke, and all of us at some point or another have got a connection with Castle Ponds, Mill Pond, and that. All of us at some point have got a connection with kids that have needed a bit of help. So if all 9,000 of us put our hands in a pocket and put a quid in the box, then that's you're sorted. You then look at Pembroke Dock, and Pembroke Dock. Anyone in Pembroke Dock, listen, so I'm going to put this out on Pembroke Dock as well, but anyone listening to Pembroke Dock will know Sandy Buckle. For anyone, I'd say probably from about 55, maybe 60, down to about 20, 25 will have had contact with Sandy Buckle. If you grew up in Pembroke Dock, you had contact with Sandy Buckle, who was big in the scouts, big with kayaks, big with climbing, all of that kind of stuff. So if anybody has got any semblance that Sandy Buckle did something for you when you were growing up, now's the time to kind of repay that into the next generation and kind of support what you're doing. Because Sandy Buckle for me, so I met Sandy through Scouts. And he was like everyone's granddad. He was just like the town's granddad. And he tried to get me into kayaking, and I was too big and heavy. I was a rugby player, so I had no sense of if I can't hit someone, then it wasn't any fun. But he took friends of mine who were, let's say, on the dodgy side of okay. They were on. When I was young, I had friends who were not necessarily straight down the line, and he brought them into a place like, if you're not going to be here and be disciplined and be honest with yourself and work hard at stuff, then you're not going to get any. And he really affected kids' lives in Pembroke Dock. So, this is something that can, I'm nearly 50, and I remember that I must have been in Cubs and Scouts. I must have been 10 when Sandy was talking to me. So I remember the conversations he had with kids back then, and I'm sure my friends who he had that conversation with will have remembered how much effort he put into them. And this is doing exactly the same thing. So if everybody in Pembroke and everybody in Pembroke Dock put their hands in their pocket, you're laughing. This is more than doable as a not just a community resource, but something for the future and something that we can all be proud of going forward. I guess it's that I'm bigging it up, mate. Is it that big? Is it that important?
Um, obviously, I think it's massively important. Yes, yes. Yeah, I do genuinely believe that the project, and particularly with that building as a base, can do so much more good. Yeah, just having that space working as a warm, dryish space, yeah, for youth training, and again, that's that whole sense of belonging, and yeah, we can do so much more having that there. I don't know if anyone who's been past when we're doing activities for younger groups and things. So where we run activity days for primary school groups, or these Forever 11 days we've been doing, we'll have 30, 40 kids down at the pond. And at the moment, the boats come out, we build like a tent village around, so it's changing spaces and things like that. So the kids got somewhere to get changed. The ability to actually have a changing space upstairs, and we could just do so much more there. It's like,
well, you've only got to look at last weekend, and this is going to be the point of my pod. Before I saw your fundraiser, where we talk about what could happen in the town. So I talk a lot about we can have events in the town. We can use things like Castle Pond to do things. And last weekend we had the Wales National Kayak Polo competition. So we brought people from all over Wales down to Pembroke, and when we do this every year, and we bring them down to Pembroke, and they spend a day there. I saw them coming on a Friday night. They go to campsites. They have a couple of beers in the pubs on a Friday night. They're around town through the Saturday. I saw people coming out of the Oak. I saw them going into not the same people going into the Hope. I saw people walking through the main street, so the chippies were full, so the cafes were full, the diner down on the Commons, there were people coming in out of there, all based around, they were there for the kayak competition. Yeah. So, we could do more of that if that building was there and people could, like you say, have a shower and what have you, we could probably do more kayak competitions. We could do. And you're going to love this now, right? We could do a town regatta every summer.
Yeah. So when we were trying to get the community asset transfer for the building originally, we laid out our plan for what we could do at that end to make Pembroke better. And one of the things we said was we'd like to bring back an annual canoe polo competition. And then believe it or not, 6 months later, I got a call off Rowan at the Dragon Canoe Club, saying, "Yeah, we're in talks with the council. We're trying to bring a polo competition to Pembroke, and we don't want to be in your way too much, mate. That is literally on our plan. So if you're going to do it for us, that's amazing." Yeah, yeah. We did try and organise a regatta 2 years ago. We will definitely be trying to bring those back once we've got the building space. I think we misjudged the mood of the town around the coronation, so we tried doing it over the coronation weekend. That was a mistake. Yeah, so yeah, yeah. So we will definitely revisit the idea of town regattas again from that space as well.
It just
it,
lends itself to it, doesn't it? It's got the slipway down, it's got the view in from around, it's in the
that's
middle of the town.
it's a perfect the old dock as it used to be. Obviously, that used to be the
Yeah.
international port for Pembroke. So,
Mm.
it's an ideal amphitheatre for games like canoe polo. So
Yeah.
the ability to have it being watched from all three sides, with people looking straight down on it, is amazing. And the amount of people that were watching the games that had no idea the competition was even going to be on. There are people just come out of a pint from the George.
Yeah.
And that's the second year they've been there. They're hoping to be back again next year, and it's such an awesome event. We'd love to see it there. We'd love to see things like that there more.
Yeah.
And particularly once the building works finish on South Quay, once that space opens up again, um, I think the quayside in Pembroke could be a really vibrant, amazing place.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Absolutely. And we've spoken before about not just using that space, but using like the walkway around the back as well and making it, we can could be something really, really special, but we've got 18 days to make it happen
yes.
effectively. So, right, I'm gonna just quickly show now, okay, your page, which are your fundraising page on there. So there we can see your fundraising page. Okay, so this is where people can go to. So it's crowdfunder.co.uk. Um, then there's a little P, but if you go onto crowdfunder and then Pembroke Dock Boathouse, this will be what you can see. You can also find it off your Facebook page. There's a link. So this is the video that you were talking about on there.
Oh,
Literally,
yeah, we've got a much better video now. That one was made in made. We were told by Sports Wales we had to have a video. That one was made in about 5 seconds. So if you go to our YouTube channel, or go to our Paddlewest on YouTube, it's on there. Or if you go to just go to Facebook, go to our Facebook page. One of the recent ones on there, we've got our video there, which lays out exactly what we want to do in the order we want to do it, and kind of shows the space that's there for you.
so people can really understand where their money's going, what their money's doing, and how it's helping the
Yeah,
local community in it. And it is as simple as going to here and clicking donate.
yeah,
I'm going to do it after. If I do it now, I'll be showing everybody my card details. So I'm not going to.
that's fine.
I'm not going to do that. It's bad enough that my wife has got them. So yeah, I'll be donating straight after we finish here today. But it would be great to just get everybody in Pembroke. I say, even if it's a couple of quid, just let's get things rocketing forward. And hopefully, as we do that, we can get a couple more events going to get a bit more cash in. And who knows, in 12 months' time, we could be sitting here going, right, let's talk about the summer regatta that's going to happen on the town quay. So if anybody is wondering where to go to, okay, crowdfunder.co.uk, search for Pembroke Boathouse, or go onto the Facebook page and there's a link to it from there. You come to here, you click donate. It is so easy. And then magically you get this warm feeling inside of you of doing something good for your town. You get this feeling, this little buzz of, hey, I'm helping the future. So trust me on that one. That is how it works. That's how it happens. So Sam, yeah, I just want to thank you for your time today, mate. I think I've certainly learned something about what Paddlewest does. And I thought it was a really good project before. I thought that this had real kind of legs, and this was really something that was worth going for. But hearing what you said today and all the other stuff and the plans going forward and what we could do with this, for me, this is a no-brainer for everyone in Pembroke and Pembroke Dock and all of the villages around and everyone that travels through and everyone that stays here. This is something that you just want to stick your hand in your pocket and just go, right, okay, let's stick a couple of quid into the future and make something happen. So I wish you all the very best, mate. Fingers crossed, I can speak to you in a couple of weeks' time and we can go, yes, we've made it. It'll be fantastic to do that then. So, right.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
No problems at all, mate. So, yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about cricket and sports results and all of that sort of stuff. So while we go and do that, Sam, thank you very much for your time, mate, and we'll speak to you again. All the best.
Nice. Thank you. Cheers.
So let's have a look at the cricket then. So Division One this week, we haven't got any real interest in Division One, apart from the fact that it's getting quite tasty at the top. You look at Carew and Loreni, they've had some good couple of weeks. Sorry, Rosselli and Carew, 6 points separating the two of them. And let's have a look, not this week, but next week. Rosselli versus Carew. That is key. If you're doing anything, if you're available on the 16th, get yourself down to that one because that is going to be a cracking match. And should decide, whether we go to the last week or Rosselli could wrap it up that week. Carew might take it to the final weekend. Who knows? It's going to be a cracking week on that one. Division 2, let's have a look in Division 2. So this is looking quite good for Pembroke. Okay, so Pembroke beat Cresselly seconds, so put themselves into bat 203 for 5, and then bowled Cresselly seconds out for 174. If you look at where that leaves us in the table, okay, so that leaves us in fourth. But if you just go back here and you look at this one, so Nishmal's lost to Hook. Yeah. So top 4 teams there. Yeah, so Nishmal's 257, Hook on 250, Narberth 248, Pembroke on 233. Between those 4 teams, it is pretty much of a toss-up. And then you look, we play St Ishmael's this weekend. Now, we beat St Ishmael's this weekend. Everything is up in the air. Everything's a little bit crazy. So that's a fantastic game to watch this weekend. Don't worry about next weekend necessarily. For now, this weekend, Pembroke against St Ishmael's is really, really important, really vital. If we can get anything out of that game, we have got a really good run in. Carew seconds and Lanryan. So Carew seconds and Lanryan down the bottom of the table. You bank 2 wins on those if we can do something against St Ishmael's. So if we do something against St Ishmael's, then who knows? Who knows what might happen from there? Let's have a look at Division 3. So in Division 3, we have got Lampthe beat Haverfordwest, Stackpole beat Stackpole, lost to Hook, and Hundleton beat Nayland on that. So that's not a bad set of results. Let's have a look where that leaves everyone in the table. So Lampthe in 3rd, Hundleton in 4th, Stackpole kind of down the bottom half of the table, 4 off the bottom, but pretty much safe. They're in a group. They're that mid-table kind of group there. So this weekend, Hundleton host Kilgetty, Lampthe host Larne, and Stackpole host Nayland seconds. So Stackpole, that's you'd say that's got to be a fairly decent win there. Top of the table is looking very interesting. Pembroke Dock and Fishguard. Yeah, that's one interesting one to keep an eye on over the next couple of weeks. Into Division 4 then. Who have we got here? This is where it gets a little bit wobbly and you forget who we've got Pembroke seconds. There we go. Pembroke seconds beat Loreni seconds by 129 runs. And this is a really good league for Pembroke seconds. Pembroke seconds there, 32 points clear with 3 games to play. Saundersfoot in second place. Let's have a look. I don't think we play Saundersfoot. We play Narberth this weekend. Then St Ishmael seconds the weekend after, and then last game of the season, Crymych at home. I'd say you got to look at that and feel fairly confident that they're not easy games, but they're definitely games that the seconds should win, and that should be promotion all over the place. So Division 5. Results from Division 5, first of all. Hundleton seconds, lost to Haverfordwest fourths by 3 wickets last weekend. That leaves kind of one off the way. Neyland thirds are a joke in this league, to be honest. I'm a little bit surprised that Pembroke Dock haven't gone on. They were looking really strong early part of the season. Pembroke Dock seconds there. That's kind of fallen to the side a little bit, but we'll see how that pans out as we go to the end of the season. So this weekend, Cresselly thirds and Hundleton seconds. I think this is one of the leagues that's got an extra week in. No, I think there's just going to be short games that need to be played somewhere. So, Hundleton travel to Cresselly this week. And Division 6, no one actually knows what's happening in Division 6. So, Lampfey lost to Lechryd, Pembroke thirds beat Kilgetty, and Haverfordwest Cresselly beat Whitland thirds. So, interesting thing with Pembroke thirds, you might have seen on socials this week, where they've officially unveiled the pitch at Grove. So there's a all-weather wicket down at Grove now, at Grove School, that Pembroke Thirds will be using as their home pitch for the remainder of, for seasons going forward, which is great. It's great for the school, great for Pembroke cricket. Bit of a shame that they've lost the rugby pitch. I think it does kind of wipe out the rugby pitch down there. But great for the cricket on that. Okay, just going to stop sharing there for a second. So I said at the start of the show, I'll give you a bit of an update about what's been happening and what's going to happen with Towncast, etc., etc. So, I set up Towncast because I wanted to shout about how great Pembroke could be. I wanted to get Pembroke together as a community and start giving people who maybe didn't have a voice, a bit more confidence to come forward and say stuff and what have you. So I've been busy with lots of other things over the last couple of weeks, and my confidence, I guess, in the positivity in I've been finding it more and more difficult to be positive about Pembroke. Okay, that's the reality, and we need to be honest with each other. And this podcast needs to be honest with all of us. We have people in our town that do not want to sing and shout about how great it is. We have people that feel it's acceptable to try and run people over if they're crossing the road. We have people who feel it's acceptable to see how fast they can go down a 20-mile-an-hour road. We sit there and we complain about queues of traffic when it's a traffic light, but we'll sit there every day and we'll go, there's queues of traffic coming back from Valero every single night, and we just don't do anything about it. Over the last couple of weeks, I've had quite a bit of grief, shall we say, of people who are absolutely determined to not allow the town to improve because it means that they've got to pick up rubbish and put it in a bin They've got to use public toilets instead of doing it around on the side of a wall. They've got to pick up their dog mess. They've got to not drive like an idiot. They've got to not ride their poxy little e-bike on pavements, going the wrong way up a one-way road on a pavement, forcing people out of the way. It really irritates me that sometimes it does feel like, why am I the only one shouting about it? And I know there are lots of other people that get wound up and annoyed by it as well. So yeah, I'll be honest with you. It was getting to the point where I had so much stuff on. I was like, do I actually want to come back and do another Towncast? It's very easy when you're just doing this on your own. It's very easy to make an excuse for yourself and not do it. But I saw the stuff around the boathouse this week. I got really wound up last week with the amount of Union Jack flags and the fact that Welsh flags were put up and Welsh flags were taken down by someone, and then Union Jacks were put up. That wound me up. That's ridiculous. We live in Wales. So, yeah, there's a load of stuff that kind of knocked me last week, but the bit around the boathouse kind of said, right, do you know what? This is something that we need to get behind. And then the more I was speaking to Sam, the more I kind of felt that, it wasn't just me. There are lots of people in this town that want to make this town better, and we deserve to have our voices heard. So here's what's going to happen with Towncast going forward. As I've said before, I want to set up Towncast, Tenby, Milford, Haverfordwest, Fishguard, St David's, Crymych, wherever. Yeah, I think every town needs a Towncast. And in order to do that, I would like to get more people involved in Towncast Pembroke. I know I say it every week, but I really do need to get more people involved so that if I can't do it, 2 or 3 other people can. And it's good to get different views, different points of view, all of this kind of stuff. So that's my message to you now. If you want to do something to benefit your town, make this the starting point and come and join a Towncast. I'm not going to tell you it's all singing and dancing because, like I've just told you, we need to be honest. There are people that will absolutely do everything they can to make you feel bad about yourself when you tell them that Pembroke is a great place to live. And there are people that will do everything they can to bring this town down. And for me, now I see this as a mission that we need to kind of take those people to one side and say, no, you're not part of it. You need to get on the bandwagon and make Pembroke better. Otherwise, just go somewhere else because this is not what we want to do. Change what you're doing, go somewhere else because this is not what we want to do. And the more places that we say go somewhere else, they'll find themselves going, I'm not got anywhere else to go. I need to change my behavior and I need to try and get stuff better in the town. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to get more people involved, and that may well be you sitting there listening at home right now. If you want to get involved, please do drop me a line on ilovetowncast@gmail.com. Let's have a chat. Let's get you on board. Let's make Pembroke a better place to live for all of us so that, in a few years, in 5, 10, 15 years' time, you can look back and say, do you know what? I helped. I did something. And this is where it started. So, yeah, I can't promise I'm going to be online every week for the next month or so, but I will do my best to be around and put stuff out as and when I can. But if you can come and join me, that makes being more regular a bit easier, if that makes sense. So that's where we are. That's what's happening. Please don't forget to donate a little bit, even if it's a quid. Just donate a quid to the boathouse appeal. It will make a massive difference for what we're doing going forward. yeah, and have a great week. I shall hope to see you next week. If not, stay safe until I see you next. All the best. Ta-da.